4.3 billion people live across this vast continent called Asia, and we are telling their stories. On this edition, Legal Protection. A new law seeks to shield Pakistani women from violence, but certain sectors say it violates their religion. In fighting form, some women in Myanmar are getting trained to defend themselves against violence and abuse. And soaring high, meet the women of China's Air Force who fly some of the world's most advanced warplanes.
I'm Han Bin, and this is Assignment Asia. Welcome to the program. Women in many parts of Asia remain vulnerable to abuse, but a few bright spots in the fight for empowerment and equality have emerged. In Pakistan, where a great number of women fall victim to violence every year, a law ensuring their rights was passed in the early 2016. Daniel Khan spoke with the survivors of the domestic violence who have risen above their ordeal and are now finding hope in the new law.
I sort of knew he had temper issues, but I wasn't sure to what extent, and he promised he'd change, so we got married.
Amber got married at 17, against her parents' wishes. She was in love with the person she chose to tie the knot with, but the honeymoon did not last long.
2 days after the marriage, he started hitting me again. It kept getting worse and worse and worse. He had very weird issues which I could not keep up with. So 4 months in the marriage, I was clear that I have to leave at some point. I just didn't know how. Because I was stuck in a marriage, I didn't have education, I didn't have anything at that point.
Amber came to Lahore City for studies. Her parents are separated and live in Karachi. In college, she interned at a firm where she met her future husband.
We used to work together, and he asked me out, he said he likes me, and at that point, initially I was a little reluctant, but then I said, okay, fine. So we dated for a while, and of course it was very stupid of me, but I said, okay, fine, let's get married, because I also loved him at that point. So I got married.
And it turned out to be a decision Amber would regret for the rest of her life.
Once I got married, I was more and more confined within the house, and he had temper issues, so he used to, get angry over very minor things. I kept waiting for him to change because he kept promising me that he's going to change, but it never happened.
When everything became too much for her to bear, Amber attempted to end her life. In Pakistan, thousands of cases similar to Amber's go unreported. Over the last 2 decades, gender-based violence has only become worse, and many take place at home.
According to a recent survey, domestic abuse, economic discrimination, and acid attacks have made Pakistan the 3rd most dangerous country for women in the world.
Advocates estimate that 7 to 9 out of 10 Pakistani women suffer some form of abuse.
In terms of the gendered power relations, women are an oppressed segment of our society. There's a historical and social context to the patriarchal practices that exist across Pakistan that actively oppress women.
An academic study found that domestic violence kills at least 5,000 women every year in Pakistan, and thousands of others are maimed or disabled. Sumaya was born to a conservative family in southern Punjab province. Her family did not allow girls like her to go to school. For her, life has been a swim against the tide.
मेरा बचपन से शौक था कि मैं जो है ना तालीम हासिल करूं। फिर मैंने अपनी भाइयों की बुक्स वगैरह जो है ना जब उन्होंने आना तो मैंने उनकी बुक्स एक दो करने की निकाल लेनी, उन पे जो है ना मैंने वो सीखा करना। और काफ़ी क्योंकि मुश्किलात थी, हवेली से बाहर हमें जाने की परमिशन नहीं होती थी, ठीक है। लेकिन फिर जो मेरे एक भाई हैं, मैंने उनसे बात की, मैंने कहा भाई बात यह कि मैं भी पढ़ना चाहती हूँ। उन्होंने कहा कि हमारे ख़ानदान में परमिशन नहीं है, ठीक है, तो लिहाजा मैं तो पढ़ूंगा, बड़ा आदमी बनूंगा, आपने क्या करना है पढ़ के, आप तो अगले घर के हो। तो मैं उनके आने तक जो है ना वो जो उनकी कॉपीज़ बची होती थी या उनकी जो बुक्स पढ़ी होती थी उनसे वो कर करके ना सीखती रहती थी। जब मैंने कुरान पाक पढ़ा है ना, तो उसमें भी नीचे उर्दू तर्जमा लिखा होता था, मैं उसको देख देख के भी लिखती थी।
Like Amber, Sumaya now says getting married was a terrible mistake. Only a day into her marriage, she already experienced abuse.
तो ये जहेज वाली बात पे आके अब्बू कह रहे हैं कि मैं कहीं कमेटी डालता हूँ या मेरा बेटा जैसे जॉब पे लगेगा तो मैं सबसे पहले आपको ये चीज़ें आपकी पहुँचाऊंगा, ठीक है। लेकिन ये उस बात पे भी नहीं मान रहे हैं। जैसे ही मेरी बेटी पैदा हुई है तो उन्होंने यही मसले शुरू कर दिए। अब ये लोग मुझे इसकी वजह से मारते पीटते हैं अगर, तो ये बड़ी गलत बात है। फिर मैंने वहाँ से जो है ना यहाँ शहर आ गई।
She found a job at a government department and her life slowly came back to normal. But her husband sought her out and her family asked her to go back to him so as not to destroy their reputation.
इसकी खातिर मैंने बेटी को उठाया, फिर वहाँ चली गई, ठीक है। तकरीबन मैंने वहाँ पे 7-8 माह गुजारे। फिर जब मैंने साल के बाद मेरी दूसरी बेटी जैसे पैदा हुई ना, तो मेरी सास ने कहा जी अब हमने तुम्हें नहीं रखना। अब वो बात बात पे आते थे, उसे मारना पीटना शुरू हो जाते थे। मैंने उनको ये कहना कि अब देखो ये एक दुनिया में आ गई, इसको मारने का कोई फायदा नहीं है। लेकिन फिर एक दफ़ा ये हुआ कि उन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा उसको मारा, तो वो जो है ना काफ़ी ज़्यादा बीमार हो गई मेरी बच्ची। मैं उनको कहती रही कि मेरे साथ इसको हॉस्पिटल लेके चलें, लेकिन कोई भी मेरे साथ आने को तैयार नहीं था। आगे से मुझे ये फरमा रहे थे इसने कौन सा बचना है, इस पर जो पैसे लगाएंगे वो ज़ाया करने हैं, ठीक है। मैंने फिर वहाँ से जो है ना एक गधा गाड़ी वाला गुजर रहा था, मैंने उससे हेल्प मांगी। तो वहाँ से फिर जब मैंने यहाँ पे देखा कि मेरा कोई नहीं वो सुना, फिर मैं यहाँ लाहौर वापस शिफ्ट हुई अब्बू के पास।
Sheer grit and an entrepreneurial spirit allowed Sumaya to rise above her circumstances. She set up centers for abused women like herself, where they are taught livelihood skills like weaving. Today, her vocational institute operates over 20 centers across Lahore. All workers are women who have been victims of abuse.
जिन तकलीफ से हम गुजर के आए हैं, मैं हमारे बाद आने वाले लोग उससे नहीं गुजरेंगे, ठीक है। कि मैं कहती हूँ कि जहाँ पे औरतों के हकूक़ की बात है मैं ज़रूर उस पर जो है ना वो करूँगी, और बिल्कुल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट होता है, मेरा कोई नहीं है। मैं कहती हूँ कि एक औरत का भला होना चाहिए, ठीक है, कि जितने मिसाइल हमारे लिए थे इन लोगों के लिए ना हो ना।
Not every woman in Pakistan is as strong and fortunate as Sumaya. Majority of victims of violence also have no legal recourse. Law enforcement authorities do not view domestic violence as a crime and usually refuse to register cases brought to them. But in February 2016, Pakistan's Punjab Assembly passed a law against gender-based violence.
In 2002, the first attempt was made. I can remember the male members, they were laughing at us and they said, "Oh my God, what are you doing? Domestic violence is a personal thing. It's not an offense at all."
The new law gives comprehensive protection to women who face abuse at home and in the workplace.
For the first time ever in the history of Pakistan, that state or any act, that has given the definition of violence. And we have given 6 types of violence which women are facing. Number 1 is domestic violence, number 2 is sexual violence, number 3 is psychological violence, number 4 is economic abuse, number 5 is stalking, and number 6 is cybercrime. So these are different forms of violence. Any woman, who is facing these kind of violence, the state, will be giving protection for that woman.
The law enables women to report any act of violence through a helpline. They can access district protection committees and also reach out to female protection officers. Under this law, victims of violence are also entitled to receive financial support from their families. For Amber, the law has come a little too late, but she hopes it would help other women.
I think it's a great step because every person should have the right to make their own decisions without the pressure of the society or the family, and this is in the right direction.
But the law faced backlash from conservative groups, some sectors within the government, and from more than 35 right-wing religious political parties. For Liaquat Baloch, leader of Jamaat-e-Islami, the law violates Islamic family principles.
पाकिस्तान में इस्लामी माशरे की एक मजबूत तरीन बुनियाद जो है वो ख़ानदान का निज़ाम है, सिला रहमी है, तक़वा है, और उसी को हदफ बनाया गया है कि भी औरत को ख़ामद से, बाप से, माँ से, भाई से ख़ानदान के इस मजबूत निज़ाम से आज़ाद कर दिया जाए। तो इसलिए हम समझते हैं कि अगर कोई घर के अंदर नाचाकी हो जाती है तो उस नाचाकी की बुनियाद पर कुरान की तालीमात हैं और उसके लिए एक वाज़ेह रोड मैप दिया गया है। अगर आप उससे हट कर कोई इक़दाम करेंगे तो वो ज़ाहिर है कि वो हमारे बुनियादी नज़रिए से मुतसादम है।
Lawmakers and women's rights advocates reject this argument, saying nothing in the law goes against Islamic principles.
If you look at the backlash, it really reveals a lot. More than anything, it reveals a lot about the people who are protesting this law. That the insecurity they feel about the loss of power and privilege, unfair, unearned power and privilege.
Many believe that although some of its details are still subject to debate, the law has paved the way for a more tolerant and moderate Pakistani society.
Despite opposition and criticism, the new law provides a sense of security and protection to the women who were being abused under the guise of traditional values and customs. And experts believe that if this law is implemented in its true letter and spirit, it has the potential to bring a significant and positive change in the lives of Pakistani women.
For many women in Pakistan, domestic abuse is a fact of life. Experts say criminalizing this would not change attitudes overnight, but that it's a good start. Now, it remains to be seen how the law would be implemented and whether it can withstand pressure from those who continue to challenge it. For Assignment Asia, I'm Daniel Khan in Lahore, Pakistan.
The debate over Women's Protection Act rages on. Some religious parties of Pakistan are campaigning to repeal the law, but women's rights advocates vow to make sure it is fully implemented.
When we return, we'll visit a center that teaches self-defense to women in Myanmar.
Despite the reforms and changes sweeping the country, gender inequality persists in Myanmar, and women are particularly vulnerable to different forms of abuse. But as Mihail Bardavidis reports from Yangon, some groups are now fighting back, equipping women with the skills and knowledge they need to turn the tide for equality.
Punching, kicking, yelling. These women are learning self-defense in a country where many of them are often abused and looked down upon. Among the students, victims of sexual violence.
I take my bono to near man to do near Bono, Depon, do I jite her as well, a mamma dim. A ma phone out Depon Yaduya as well, a dim, was even young of a deal. No, a ma, you were internet device or a woman dim. The name in the county or no. Mounty means what I see, but three. A ma did you pit it or no? A ma did you pit it, illumuri Joe Warren or no? Illumuri pit, illumuri Joe Warren, the me. Shit to me. I don't know, Pitches well, so one Kazarabono, such a low Macau. And a Macau Kazara, Piabono, Piabala Kama, Turia, Blue Tinless, do Bono, Zulu, Segment and do Bono, I always I said, I do maybe. Say you, Chaplaga, I do, I don't blue ma, do go Bono, but chip and so hard, both them you go second, when they get take away, when they take away, take care.
Women from different backgrounds take lessons in Akaya. They seem curious, nervous at times, but all eager to learn.
The Akaya Center holds kickbox classes for women every Saturday at a nearby park. Here they learn to stand up for themselves if they face a physical threat and are taught that women are just as worthy as men.
Tartar found the Akaya Women's Center aiming to break gender inequality and stop violence against women in Myanmar. Her advocacy began after an eye-opening conversation on sexual health with a therapist while she was working for an international organization.
I started to learn sexuality, and this Israeli sex therapist came when she came. She comes here. She shares us basic sexuality, like what's our body, what's our reproductive organs function. And there are many things that we don't know. And I started to create this discussion into more and more defined, detailed curriculum. And after 4 years, I found it really useful, and I feel so empowered.
Tar says the mentality of many people in Myanmar's male-dominated society is the real problem.
In Myanmar, women are often perceived as second-class citizens, which makes them very vulnerable to physical and emotional abuse. It's a culture that's rooted in very old traditions, so it will take a long time to break this perception. Nevertheless, there are many people who are putting an effort into transforming this inequality.
But gender inequality is so ingrained in Myanmar's culture that many don't even question it.
main ကလေးတွေကိုနှိမ့်ချလို့တဲ့သဘောနဲ့ယောက်ျားလေးကဥလေမြတ်တယ်လို့ပြောကြတာမဟုတ်ဘူးအမှန်ယောက်ျားလေးက main ကလေးထပ်ပို့ပြီးတော့စွမ်းဆောင်နိုင်တယ်ဒီလိုသွားခဲ့လက်ဆင့်ကမ်းပြီးတော့ပေးခဲ့တဲ့အကြံဉာဏ်အမွေအရာကဘယ်လိုလဲဆိုတော့ main ကလေးmain ကလေးဒီပို့ပြီးတော့နှိမ့်ကြလို့ပြောနေတာမဟုတ် main ကလေးတွေကဒီအိမ်တော်မှုထိမ့်သိမ့်တဲ့အပိုင်းမှာယောက်ျားလေးထပ်ပို့ပြီးတော့အကွက်မြင်နိုင်တယ်ယောက်ျားလေးတွေကြတော့အိမ်မှုကိစ္စလုပ်တဲ့နေရာတက်ကိုဒီအိမ်အတွက်တစ်ဖက်တစ်လမ်းနေစီးပွားရှာတဲ့နေရာအလုပ်ကိုင်လုပ်တဲ့နေရာမှာ main ကလေးထပ်ပို့ပြီးတော့အကွက်မြင်နိုင်တယ်အဲ့တော့ဒီတယောက်ကိုတယောက်တင့်တော်တဲ့နေရာမှာတယောက်ချင်းစီနေတာအကောင်းဆုံးပဲလို့ပြောချင်တာ
Sundar Thant of the United Nations team in Myanmar says gender inequality can also be seen in the workplace.
According to our recent report and also analysis of the UNDP showed that especially women in rural area, especially in the ethnic minority, have to spend more times for that, not only for the household chore but also for the cultivation and working longer hours.
While a movement to educate women has begun, there is still a lack of policies upholding their rights. The UN has been pushing for laws, including one that redefines rape.
Definition of rape in the current law does not cover international definition. We also include that the new concept and the new values, like for example, the woman syndrome and also consent. Such kind of value and then the new values are added into that new law.
Akaya students say they are able to apply the lessons they learn in class to their daily lives.
အဲ့ဒါနဲ့လေဘယ်လိုဖြစ်သွားလဲဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီဆိုင်ဘုတ်ကိုမြင်တဲ့အခါကျတော့လေဖင်နာမှာရှိလေပေါ့အဲ့ဒီဆိုင်ဘုတ်ကပေါ့နော်အဖွဲ့အစည်းရပေါ့နော်စုံစမ်းနေဘယ်လိုမှစုံစမ်းလို့မရဘူးမရတော့နောက်ပိုင်းဘယ်လိုဖြစ်သွားလဲဆိုတော့အမအဲ့မှာတမက်ကကြာနေဆိုတာရှိတယ်
The Akaya Center has trained hundreds of women so far, and its network expands day by day through word of mouth. Still, Tar says a change in how Myanmar society views women is needed, and she believes it begins at home. So when telling stories to her children, she highlights the role of women.
In my story, I said, the princess go and save the prince. And in some stories, I said, Mommy is wise and he helped daddy with this and that. He helped kids with this and that. He was confused and angry and he couldn't bear it. I also talk about men and women are the same, but they have some differences. Men really have strength and energy more than women, but women can deliver a baby and can breastfeed. So man has energy, woman has power. I believe in family. If family change, nation will change. So women and men are equal, taking equal responsibility in the family. Child rearing, household things. Then then kids will see equality. Then these kids can make changes.
It may take a long time for transformation to happen, but advocates believe it is slowly taking root. With every punch and shout, and each time these women stand up for themselves, they feel changes happening step by step, no matter how small. For Assignment Asia, I'm Michal Bardavid in Yangon, Myanmar.
Efforts by advocates in Myanmar are no longer just limited to women. Some have begun reaching out to men as well, holding workshops on gender equality in local communities.
Next on Assignment Asia, get to know the women flying fighter jets for China's Air Force.
China's Air Force has been training female pilots for some 6 decades, but women flying some of the world's most lethal fighter jets are a fairly recent development. I was given rare access to the 4 female fighter pilots of the Chinese Air Force who are conquering the skies with their skill and determination.
They are some of the toughest pilots in China. They are the Air Force's first group of female fighter pilots. They belong to the Airborne Honor Guards, the August 1st Aerobatic Team. Flying one of the world's most lethal warplanes sets them apart from others their age.
我觉得这个职业它是男人干的事业。 女人之前可能是飞运输机的，运输机的我们的师姐她们都飞运输机，因为运输机就相当于民航飞行员一样，民航飞行员拉人，运输机是拉物资。我觉得，因为在中国的历史上没有女的飞过战斗机，我觉得哇，这又是给我对人生当中一次挑战吧。
He Xiaoli told us the 4 women have flown 4 types of planes, including second and third generation Chinese fighter jets. All of them have logged nearly 1,000 hours of flying time. The Air Force first recruited female fighter pilots in 2005. Only 16 made it through the grueling 4-year training. In 2013, He Xiaoli and 3 others were chosen by the Air Force Aerobatic Team to fly the J-10.
刚开始到北岸队飞行的时候，前期因为胳膊上力量的不够，可能在修正动作上面，然后修正量就比较偏差比较大。那时候就体现出来了，我真的是，我觉得我需要的力量真的需要很大的力量。后来就发现自己的缺点和弱点之后，然后在地面的时候就每次体能训练都针对力量训练，把胳膊上的力量练到强硬。 然后在空中编队的时候，表演飞行的时候，在编队的时候就能保证我的飞机修正量很小，也便于后面的僚机跟队。
China enrolled its first female pilots in 1951. Since then, more than 500 women have flown for the Air Force. The 4 female pilots had their J-10 debut at the Air Show China in November 2014. And in March 2015, they gave a stunt show in Malaysia for the 13th Langkawi International Maritime Aerospace Exhibition. It was their first international performance. All 4 pilots trained for the 2015 parade to mark the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Second World War. He Xiaoli was one of the 2 chosen for the parade debut with their male counterparts in the flight pass over Tiananmen Square.
女飞首先他们是非常努力的几个人啊，他们跟我们男飞行员在身体上、力量上可能都要弱一点啊，尤其是到了表演队之后，表演队这个飞行过程中这个筋斗啊什么这些动作要求这个力量非常大，要求精准 然后他们通过他们的努力，现在基本也能跟我们可能稍有差距，但是已经很好了，可以吧？
Independently designed and developed by China, the J-10 fighter jets have become the major aircraft of the aerobatic team. Jets are a challenge for any pilot to fly, and the participation of the female pilots is yet another sign that the People's Liberation Army Air Force is developing rapidly.
The 4 women were in the 2009 parade to mark National Day. At that time, they were flying K-8 trainer planes. The memory is still fresh in the mind of Tao Jiali. She says much has changed since then.
监视飞机来说，和当时我们飞的教巴就是高级教练机来说，教练机就像一个玩具一样。对我自己来说，挑战就是体力方面吧。高空作业的话，对身体的要求非常高。第二个就是技术原因。技术原因不像我们在地面看那么简单。
The J-10 is the 3rd generation of Chinese fighters. It has more advanced systems of aviation, firepower, and communications. But the biggest changes are the thinking behind the military hardware.
我觉得空军最大的变化可能是一直在改革，一直在革新，然后呢又是很包容，又是很创新，然后让越来越多的女性投入到空军，说明空军想把这个建设的更全面吧。
The need for female pilots is increasing in China's ambitious Air Force modernization drive. Many believe it highlights a rising role of women in the military and a growing number of female astronauts in the future.
未来最大的挑战，我觉得可能是因为我们现在都到了成熟女性的阶段，下一步面临着，因为结婚我已经完成了，下面面临着生子，有可能是在生完小孩之后再次步上蓝天，这是我人生当中可能下一步最大的挑战吧。
He Xiaoli has never thought of giving up ever since she was selected to be a pilot. She believes strength alone does not determine a top pilot, and the sky is not the limit. The takeoff of female pilots represents a new era for the PLA Air Force. Chairman Mao said women hold up half the sky. For these women, that's just the start.
As the Chinese military continues its transformation with a focus on quality, Chinese women are also seen to play an increasingly important role. You can learn more about this story and all the stories of today's program on our website, www.assignment-asia.com. That's all the time we have for this edition. Thanks for watching. I'm Han Bin. Join us again on Assignment Asia.
Share your thoughts and contribute story ideas for future shows by contacting us on social media.